Good Day Diet Center. Today is the last day of the month. It's Tuesday, March 31st. I know everyone's got their rally caps on. The network as a whole has continued to maintain its lead over 2008 for same center sales or same store sales. Right now I'm projecting we're still at about 110 to 115%. Still have a few centers that haven't reported the reports that were due last week, and I know some of those are trickled in yesterday, so we'll have some ranking later today to make sure we've got the most up-to-date information possible. Remember, this is a 2 reporting period week. You have a report that you'll turn in that ends with the end of business today, and then a new report that begins with the beginning of business tomorrow through the end of the week. So next Friday, when you turn in sales data, you'll turn in sales data for yesterday and today combined, and then for the balance of this week. So remember, 2 sets of sales figures so we can have some accurate sales data. In addition to that, I'll send out some information that shows where we came up short on the lose and cruise. We had all totaled, I believe, about 60 centers that had made purchases, and the remainder did not. And I got to tell you, if just 15 of those centers that didn't make purchases would have made minimal purchases, I'm pretty sure we would have gone over the top. But the good news is we're going to roll that money over into some exciting promotions and contests in the month of April. In addition to, we have the April Flowers Bring May, pardon my computer sending a reminder to me, the April Showers Bring May Flowers contest. I want to just point out a couple of things on the Success newsletter that we get an awful lot of questions about, and I just want to draw your attention to a few things. On this side of the page is from this section to about here, it gives you a list of all the personnel. So if you're wondering who you should direct some inquiries to about different subject matter, it lists the department and it lists the individuals in those departments as to who you can make contact with. It also has a list of when all the franchisee meetings are, and in this case our next round of meetings that are on the books are August 4th in New York, August 6th in Greensboro, September 1st in Denver, September 3rd in Kansas City, September 15th in Seattle. This is on here every single day. And every now and again, I'll get a phone call. Someone saying, what was the date of that meeting? Well, it's on here every single day, and this goes out virtually every day. Also, it has a list of all the corporate trainings, and we cross out and highlight the ones that have already expired, as well as cross out the meetings that have already expired as well. And at the bottom, some very important information. There are some hyperlinks at the bottom. So when you're looking at this in the email version, you can click on them. They include marketing tips, advertising tips, staffing tips, new client sales tips, product sales tips, as well as financial management, client management, importance of training, and reporting sales data, which I need to update the reporting sales data to include the new email address, which is reports@dietcenter.com, reports@dietcenter.com, reports@dietcenter.com. Today's Success newsletter, and I think I did one similar to this last year around this time, primarily because I'm a basketball junkie. When it comes to March and March Madness, I absolutely adore watching the games. And around my house, there's 3 weekends, of which this coming weekend will be the last one, where I'm just glued to the set watching basketball games. And the reason for it is not just the competitiveness, but it's for the stories after the wins. Because those stories after the wins draw direct parallels to our business, and it's some great lessons to be learned. Now, if you've ever been involved in highly competitive organized sports, you'll learn early on that you're always preparing for the what-if situations. And by what-ifs, I mean, let's say you're playing baseball and the bases are loaded, you're down by 2, you need 3 to win, and all of a sudden you're facing a left-handed pitcher, or maybe a right-handed pitcher, or the wind's coming from the left, the wind's coming from the right. You know, all these scenarios that you go through these relentless drills, and I've got to tell you, as a former student athlete, nothing drives a player crazier than practicing all these what-if scenarios at the end of every practice, because you're thinking to yourself, this is never going to happen. Well, I happened to hear a story this morning about one of the college teams that made it to the Final Four. And how did they do it? They did it by successfully running a what-if play with single digits on the clock, to win the game. And a player was quoted after the game saying he was so sick of practicing that play at the end of every practice for the last 3 years because the opportunity never presented itself, and he was convinced that if it did present itself, the play wouldn't work. To his surprise, during one of the greatest moments in college sports annually, the scenario lived, the play was executed, and it resulted in the team winning. Does any of this sound familiar? Let's see. PAMS doesn't work. Asking for referrals while setting an appointment over the telephone doesn't work. Contest boxes don't work. Flyers don't work. Asking for referrals before closing the sale doesn't work. Closing the sale 4 to 5 times doesn't work. Yada, 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 yada. Insert here doesn't work. Have you ever heard someone say any of these things? Well, if you attended the recent meetings, you probably heard some people say that. I have. Heck, I've even said it about every single one of these things at one point or another, except for the PAMS ads. And the reason I said it was out of lack of experience and ignorance. And I don't mean ignorance in a bad way. I just mean lack of experiences and exposures to what the success could be. After I got some time under my belt, I realized that in my mind, these things didn't work based on the frequency I expected. But collectively, for the center team, over the course of the week, the month, and the year, all of these things worked and continue to work. I was looking from my perspective, not the coaches, or in this case, my franchisee's perspective, if I'm a staff member in the center. The basketball coach knew that if the success rate was not over 50%, there was still a chance it would work and success would result. It's all about experiences and exposures. I've been in our business for over a span of 20 years, and there are moments when Chuck Sakaris gives direction on something for which, quite frankly, I'm thinking, this will not work. And all of a sudden, my 20-year span of experience is trumped by his 35 years of experience. Remember, it's all about experiences and exposures. The same holds true at the center level. A perfect example of this is the telephone script. I can certainly see why someone would wonder, why is a darn phone script so important from the corporate perspective? Simple. After 20, 30, even 35 years of experience, we've seen one consistency that is centers that, tripping over my tongue, one consistency, and that is when centers know and practice the phone script properly, they produce higher level of sales than those centers that do not know and practice the phone script properly. Like it or not, it's the truth. It's not a subjective thing, it's reality. So practice for the what-ifs every week, and the easiest way to get started practicing for the what-ifs is to do 10 real or role-play presentations every single week by everyone on the staff. Have a great day. Look for more news later today on March rankings, updates on back orders, and much more information. Have a great day, everybody.